My shadow has started moving a second too late. I step and it hesitates. I wave and it follows, but wrong somehow. At first, I told myself it was just bad lighting, fatigue, anything normal. But last night, under the hallway lamp, it didn't move at all. It just stood there, stretched too long, watching while I backed away. When I stopped, it didn't. The wind pressed against the window, whistling like a breath held too long. I'm terrified now because I don't think my shadow is lagging anymore. I think it's waiting for me to stop moving first. I'm trying not to stop. I didn't know answering the phone could start something like this. My phone rings at 3 a.m. every night now. Same unknown number, always at the same time. Tonight, I answered. It was my voice, older, strained, breathing like it had been running for a long time. It said, "Don't open the door tomorrow." I dropped the phone before I could think to ask anything. The warning felt late, like answering had already put something into motion. The wind pressed against my house, slow and deliberate, testing every seam. I unplugged the phone, turned it off. It didn't matter. The ringing never stopped. It just moved inside my head, counting down to a knock I haven't heard yet. I hear footsteps in my house that match my pace exactly, just half a second behind. When I walk, they follow. When I stop, they stop. I tried running once. They kept up. Last night, I stood perfectly still in the hallway and held my breath. So did the footsteps. Not closer, not farther, just waiting. The wind outside howled through the siding like it found the whole thing funny. I'm afraid to be quiet for too long now, because I don't know if the footsteps are copying me anymore, or practicing. There's a new grave in the old cemetery behind my house. Fresh dirt, clean stone, no flowers yet. It has my name on it. The date is tomorrow. No one's buried there, I checked. I stood there longer than I meant to, listening to the wind drag dirt across the letters of my name, like it was trying to cover them up before someone noticed. I haven't slept since. I'm terrified that if I do, I won't be late for my own funeral. I think the wind knows who I am. I don't mind the wind. I grew up with it, learned how to tune it out. But lately it's been recognizing me. Not with words exactly, more like acknowledgement. When I step outside, it changes pitch. When I think about leaving, it rises, steady and insistent. Tonight, it pressed against the house and wouldn't settle. Not louder, just closer. I finally said my name out loud just to see what would happen. The wind eased immediately, like it only needed confirmation that it had the right one. I don't think it's done listening. My house doesn't make noise unless I move first. At first, I thought the house was just settling. Old places do that. Creaks, sighs, small corrections in the night. At first, it was easy to ignore, but lately the sounds follow me. When I move rooms, the floor answers a moment later. Not footsteps, something slower, deliberate. Last night I stood perfectly still in the hallway and held my breath. The house did too. The walls seemed to listen. When I finally exhaled, it resumed, soft and careful, as if relieved I'd decided to stay. There's a chair in my living room that keeps turning to face me. I don't use it anymore. I keep it for guests, though no one really visits anymore. Recently, I've started finding it angled slightly toward me when I wake up. Just a few degrees, enough to notice. I told myself I moved it without remembering. I must have. This morning, I pushed it flush against the wall before making coffee. When I came back from the kitchen, it had rotated again. Not much, just enough to face me. The streetlights started turning on just for me. I started taking walks at night to clear my head. Same route, same time. It helped at first. Quiet streets, steady breathing. After a week, I noticed the streetlights changing. They didn't turn on all at once anymore. Instead, they lit up just ahead of me, one by one, almost like a courtesy. Last night, one didn't turn on at all. I stopped beneath it anyway. I didn't feel alone. I felt acknowledged, like stopping was what it wanted. And then I heard the breathing. There's something wrong with the air in that room. I don't use the spare room anymore. It's empty except for dust and an old rug. Yesterday I opened the door and felt a shift, like stepping into a conversation already in progress. The air inside was warmer than the hallway. Not stale, expectant. I closed the door, unsettled. A moment later, warmth seeped out through the frame and brushed at my feet. I locked it without thinking. The warmth stayed on my side, lingering, like it didn't understand why I'd left. It wanted me back. My reflection didn't blink when I did. I noticed it while brushing my teeth. I blinked. My reflection followed just a moment later. I laughed at myself and tried again. Same delay. Just long enough to feel wrong. I leaned in closer, my heart racing, watching my own eyes as though they belonged to someone else. The bathroom felt quieter than it should have. I whispered, "Hello?" My reflection didn't move. When it finally smiled, slow and careful, I realized I hadn't. My face was perfectly still. At exactly midnight, my radio stopped playing static and started reading Tomorrow. It's an old thing I keep for comfort, usually nothing but hiss and dead air. But the voice was calm, professional. Car accidents I hadn't heard about. Names I didn't recognize. Streets I'd never visited. Then it mentioned mine. The report was brief. A disturbance, no details yet. Outside, the wind pushed against the window, carrying the static with it, shaping it into whispers. I reached to turn the radio off. The voice paused like it had noticed. Then it continued, closer to home. One of the fireworks didn't explode. It stared. New Year's Eve filled the sky with color and noise, everyone cheering as light bloomed overhead. But one burst lingered, glowing too long. Its shape warped, stretching, forming something round and unblinking. Then another did the same. And another. Soon every explosion left behind a watching face suspended above the neighborhood. People kept celebrating, phones raised, laughing. No one seemed to notice the way the sky leaned closer. The wind carried the booms downward now, slower, heavier, like something breathing in between them. When I leaned in for the midnight kiss, I realized her smile started too early. The countdown echoed through the room, everyone shouting numbers over cheap music and clinking glasses. I turned toward my girlfriend, but her eyes were wrong. Too dark. Too deep. Her grin stretched wider than it should have. "Finally," she whispered, her voice folding over itself. The ball dropped. Cheers erupted. Confetti fell. No one else reacted. As she kissed me, the wind outside howled through the windows like laughter, and I understood she'd been waiting longer than I had. My echo answered before my friends did. At midnight, we raised our glasses and shouted Happy New Year. The room rang with cheers. Then my voice came back, wrong, delayed, deeper. Happy never. Everyone kept smiling, drinking, talking over me. I tried again. My lips moved, but no sound came out. Only the echo responded, closer this time. In the window, I saw my reflection still speaking, mouth stretching wider than mine. Outside, the wind rattled the glass softly, like it was toasting too. I don't remember writing my last 3 resolutions. I made my list like I always do. Simple things. Be healthier. Call mom more. Try harder. But this morning, the paper on my fridge had new lines in my handwriting. Stop running. Come home. It's almost midnight forever. The ink looked fresh. The tape holding the page was still warm. Outside, the wind rattled the window in slow, measured bursts, like a countdown with no numbers left. I stared at the list for a long time, realizing that the year ahead had already made plans for me. I stopped using the hallway mirror because it started watching me leave. I've always avoided that old mirror. The glass is cracked, and it feels colder than the rest of the house. Lately, when I walk past it, my reflection lingers just a second too long. Last night, I glanced back and saw it still standing there, staring down the empty hall after I'd already turned away. I told myself it was exhaustion, bad lighting, anything normal. The wind rattled the window beside it, whispering like it wanted inside. I haven't looked directly at the mirror since. I'm afraid it's waiting for me to turn my back again. The doll only blinks when I'm not looking straight at it. The porcelain doll my grandmother left me sits on the shelf across from my bed. Its eyes are glassy, too clear like they're always wet. I swear it only blinks when I look away. Last night I caught it mid-blink in my peripheral. Eyelids half lowered, eyes locked on me. I froze. The wind rocked the house gently like a cradle. I don't sleep facing the shelf anymore, because every time I turn my back, I hear something shift, and I'm afraid of the moment I finally turn around. The note was already on the mirror when I woke up, in my handwriting. It was taped to the bathroom mirror with my pen, my handwriting. Don't look behind you until you're ready. I stared at my reflection for a long time, trying to remember writing it. I laughed eventually, a nervous reflex. I told myself it was stress, sleepwalking, anything explainable. When I finally turned away, my stomach dropped. The tape was still warm, and the mirror reflected more space behind me than my bathroom should have had. I haven't checked again. I'm not sure what ready means. January 1st felt wrong the moment I flipped the calendar. I turned the page expecting a clean start. Instead, the calendar showed last year's dates. Crossed out days, notes I don't remember writing. Photos were taped to some squares. Pictures of me smiling in places I've never been. Today's page stopped my breathing. It showed me asleep, photographed from above my bed. The wind keeps flipping the pages when I'm not looking, always back to the same week. I'm afraid the new year isn't starting over. I think it's repeating, and I'm the part that doesn't wake up. The voicemail didn't have a number or a time, just my voice. I found it while clearing space on my phone. 7 seconds long. No caller ID, no timestamp. It was my voice, whispering my name like I was lost somewhere nearby. At the end, there was a soft sound, like fabric shifting in the wind. I checked my call history. Nothing. When I played it again, the whisper started sooner. Closer. Like it was learning where to begin. I've stopped opening my voicemail now, but my phone still lights up at night, listening.